Serving on an advisory board is a fantastic way to build up quality board director experience without some of the downside. And some of the downside, sometimes potentially is taking on a lot of risk, a lot of personal risk, and being responsible for potentially quite a small company that might be facing cash flow pressures and challenges in the next 12-24 months. Advisory boards have been viewed in the past a little bit like the B grade, the second tier, and I have a few high-profile non-executive directors who sort of look down a little bit on advisory board work. But the benefit of advisory board is that firstly, it's very interesting, enjoyable work. You often get to be much more hands-on as a board director. You get to give your advice, your expertise to the board or to the owners of the business, the major shareholders and so on. So you get to be quite nimble and you get to be able to be quite hands-on, and that's very attractive to a lot of executives as they're building up their board experience, to still be able to sort of tap into where some of their expertise lies, some of their operational knowledge, for example. Advisory boards can be very, very nimble, and they get this sort of intimate relationship in place with the company owners. I've put a number of these in place in recent times, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They're really becoming a powerhouse for the owners of the business. Being able to tap into a broad range of expertise, being able to get things done, being able to have people who can help you make quick decisions, people who are taking a real genuine interest in your business and its growth journey. These boards tend to be very growth orientated, so it suits people with an entrepreneurial background, people who've had a lot of experience in growing businesses. And so it does play quite well to former CEOs or senior business executives who now want to give back in the board director community and want to have a balanced portfolio, and advisory boards might form a very, very valid pathway towards building out a board director career. And so you can have this nice combination of advisory board and non-executive director work. The non-executive director work is similar but different. It can often have a more of a governance flavour to it. There might be more formality to it. But the both types of work can sit sort of side by side in a balanced portfolio. So it's a really nice way to build up different experiences. And these roles are very well remunerated. Advisory board roles are not the poor cousin when it comes to remuneration. They are extremely well remunerated. We just did a few advisory board roles the other day, and they were being compensated up to about $120,000 for about half a dozen, sort of formal board meetings per annum. Very well remunerated. And if you've got very specialist skill sets, say for example, merger acquisition, taking businesses into new markets, commercializing technology, specialist skill sets like that are really, paid at a premium. Companies want access to that knowledge, that information. So consider advisory boards when you're putting together a balanced portfolio. It's also a good stepping stone to building up board experience, and it's generally speaking a little bit lower risk because you're not taking on the fiduciary risk in the company. And so that's very attractive to a lot of people. And then of course I have some clients who have a lot of assets in their names and they don't want to go and transfer them into trusts and super funds and so on. And so, it's not a barrier to be able to do this work, because obviously if you were being a non-executive director, you'd have to make sure those assets were out of harm's way before you embarked on that type of work. So there's a lot of upside. Definitely consider it when you're putting together your board portfolio. Drop into my diary and have a chat with me. I'd be happy to talk through what some of the options might look like.